Now here we would be talking about instruments in TSSULA and TRESSULA. Now we must be wondering, what is this TSSULA and TRESSULA? TSSULA is transforaminal stitchless spine surgery under local anesthesia, mainly for the disc, and TRESSULA is mainly for the canal stenosis. Now, as we have said, the philosophy of channelplasty or transforaminal 3-column 3-zone channelplasty is very simple. We extend our axis from the disc towards the upper zone by crossing the upper end plate. We extend it towards the lower zone by crossing the lower end plate at the disc level. And we make a disc entry and disc surgery in non-migrated herniations. In migrated, we follow the fragment. Now there is a small explanation needed here. In case of channelplasty, we are going more for the bony component and the walls of the canal, and in case of migrated disc, we are going mainly for the disc fragment, which may be accessible by using the hook through the annular tear rather than cutting the bone. We also use RF or laser. We use the drills and burrs. We also use a plasma device called as a Canon, designed by me. And we will be talking about the care of instruments and maintenance of instruments, including the camera, light source, mobile, endoscopy unit, and the added modalities. So let us start talking about the instruments now. Now we will be initially highlighting the operating room setup. What we normally say is that we expect the room to be at least 20 by 20, 400 square feet, with a ceiling height of about 10 feet and a laminar airflow, which could be a standard operation theater. Now we need a radiolucent operating table, and to put it very simply, you can use a wooden table with a proper height matching the C-arm and a proper width so that you are able to reach the patient from the side. The endoscopy cart or the video trolley with a video monitor, light source, the video recording device. We need a C-arm mainly for spine surgery with adequate power as to have a good lateral X-ray. We need lead aprons, we need a thyroid shield, we need glasses with proper shielding of the lens for the radiation. We need a RF cautery, we need a standard anesthesia machine, irrigation fluid and a stand, and if possible a laser machine is essential for our surgery. Now the OT staff consists of the C-arm technician, 2 circulating nurses, 1 anesthetist and 1 scrub nurse. A surgeon may have an assistant surgeon who will help him in doing the job more properly. If we are doing a left side surgery and the right-handed surgeon, then the surgeon stands on the left side of the patient who is prone, and as marked here, this is the left side, the patient is prone, the surgeon and the nurse is here, there is the instrument trolley, the C-arm is always here lined up, the X-ray technician is here, the video trolley and video monitor is here, technician is here for this. We may have certain instruments like the RF cautery and the suction machine, etc. here. The anesthetist with the anesthesia machine is lying here. Now, if you are looking at a possibility of having a patient who is undergoing surgery for the right-sided symptoms and a right-sided surgeon, then we go to the right side and the whole thing changes. The point is, we normally stand on the symptomatic side of the patient. Now let us talk about the basic instruments, mainly a part of my system which is marketed by Karl Storz, and some of the instruments which we need which may not be the part of the system. The first is the scope. Now this is the Hopkins wide angle telescope of 25 degrees. The 25 degrees is this bevel. So when you look from the lower part, which is the video pickup, you will find that you're looking up 25 degrees and not at the horizon. And We then talk about this is a 25-degree angled eyepiece. Outer diameter is 6.6. Working channel is 3.625. The length is 18 centimeters. It is autoclavable and fiber optic light transmission is incorporated. So this is the scope. Now there is a scope which is in vogue called a vertebris. This is 5.9 into 5, that is, there is a little oblong scope, and 6.9 into 5.6. So the dimensions are, this is oblong scope, Hopkins scope is circular. Now the Yes scope, which used to be there in the past, is 5.8 by 5 oblong, and it had a 20 centimeter length. This is 20 centimeter or 16.5 centimeter. Working channel is 2.7. Here it is 3.1 or 4.1. Ours is 3.6, which is midway between these. This is 25 degree. This is 20 degree. Ours is 25 degree. And the working cannula or the surgical working sleeve is 6.9. This is 8. And this is 7.6. So things are very close to each other. The main advantage of my scope is it has a 3.625 channel, which can help you in tackling patients of Asian dimensions where the height could be 5.6 in a male and 5 feet in a female. Now endoscope with working channels, we have other endoscopes for interlaminar stenosis, 10 millimeter outer diameter, 7.1 working channel, 15 degrees, PSLD scope, 8.4 outer diameter, 5.7 working channel, 15 degrees. Our foraminoscopy or transforaminal, the outer diameter is 6.9, working channel is 4.1 or 3.6, and the angle varies from 25 to 30. The endoscope are also available without working channel, mainly the arthroscope, which is 4 mm, 0 degree, 17.5 centimeters without working channel. This is used in UBE or unilateral biportal endoscopy by the surgeons. The first instrument which we use is a needle. The needle, as you know, has a bevel. It is not a cylinder at the end. It has a hub. And our needles are marked 1 centimeter distance. So these marking 5, 10, 15 are double markings. It is available as 20 centimeter needle for accessing the disc and 25 centimeter or 250 millimeter needle as a needle for passing through the dilator or the second port of the dilator for injecting local anesthetic. Now a guide wire is used, which is 41 centimeters in length. It is 0.9 millimeters in diameter. It is available as a pack of 10. This guide wire goes through the needle and it has a length probably double the needle, so you can leave behind adequate length of the guide wire in spite of passing it to the tip of the needle. When you remove the needle over the guide wire, you are not lost. Now the third instrument is the dilator, which is blunt in the tip. It has a central channel. It has an eccentric channel here. There are two channels as can be seen here. One is central, one is eccentric, and this is a blunt tip with a taper. My dilator has a taper of 15 millimeters. That is, from the tip to the big diameter area, this grows from 2 millimeters to 7 millimeters over 15 millimeters. So it is much more easy to use it. If you use a blunt dilator, it is very difficult to tap it inside the disc. Now dilator can be of single channel or double channel, and a single dilator, which is commonly used, or serial dilators are also used. The dilator is having a diameter of 6.9 and the inner is 1.4 through which the needle or the guide wire can go, the inner hole. Now this is the working channel or the cannula, and you will find that this has a bevel. This is almost like a 1 number needle. This bevel is indicated by this irrigation port, and this red is a code for the instruments. Now you must remember that the bevel and the dilator, there is a gap here. So if we put this tip, or the tang as we call it, towards the axilla when we are going in, it may theoretically damage the axilla. So when we go in, we always keep the cannula open side, or the bevel open towards the head or towards the axilla of the nerve. The sleeve or the surgical working channel or the cannula could be of different lengths and of different diameters, but the standardized is 7.6 with a 7 mm scope with a 3.625 mm working channel. And the tip of the cannula could have various configurations. Normally these long tang cannulas are used for L5S1. The short ones are the standard ones, and there may be circular or cylindrical cannula which are used in the upper lumbar area, mainly because we are very close to the conus and we need to be more careful. Now this is a tapper with a flat surface outside with a depressed surface inside, which sits on the cannula. This sits on the head of the cannula, and there is a mallet which has Teflon coating, so the sound it generates is not much. And when this is hitting this, and then the metallic instruments, if this is metallic, it may splay the metal may get deformed. Then these are graspers which go through the scope and grab the tissue. There could be upbite grasper, a standard grasper which could be opening about 60 to 90 degrees. Then these are annular cutters or punches which may be angled like this. So this is up looking annular cutter. These punches help us in cutting a hardened annulus, or in many cases we can use this to cut the osteophyte. Now these instruments are totally black and insulated. So in some difficult conditions, when there is a lot of bleeding here at the tip, you can attach a bipolar cord here and use this instrument as a bipolar cautery handpiece. These two would work as the bipolar tips. Then this is the annulotome or annular cutter, which has a stronger cutting power because it is fully metallic and not flexible. Then there are new developments in the form of angled instruments, flexible instruments, and Kerrison punches. Now these are having wires inside, and this is flexible, and you can give a shape to this instrument as per the requirement. Like for a down migrated fragment, you can literally make this instrument like this and go for the fragment. The flexible instruments, the angled instruments are the articulated instruments, where a knob on the instrument will help you in changing the angle of the tip. The Kerrisons, which are standard equipment from our open surgery, are also available, which go through the scope and help us in removal of the bone. Then this is the main additional instrument which I designed, which is the hook. This is the 3.5 mm hook. There is another one which is a 2.5 hook. The smaller one is for the smaller legacy scopes like the Yes system. Now this hook is called as a bent finger or a tedi ungli because you can maneuver a lot of things by turning your finger. This hook is blunt at the tip, and a new variety in this is coming where we have a small cutting edge here where we can cut the annulus if necessary with the knife which is present. Now this is a standard cautery which works at 1.1 megahertz and can give rise to excessive heat and a spread of heat when we are using it inside the surgical area. We do not use a monopolar cautery with a inactive pad, but we always use a bipolar cautery, and we use a Elman or Eloquence 4.1 megahertz cautery. This 4.1 megahertz indicates that it's a cold cautery. The spread of heat is minimum. In addition, of course, since we are operating under water, there is hardly any problem with the cautery being used very close to the neural tissue. This is a bipolar probe or a cautery handle This is held in the hand of the surgeon. When you press this together, bipolar probe comes out here. The one electrode is at the tip and the second is on the side. This white is an insulating ring, and this insert can be removed. This sheath can be removed. This we also call as the dog tail cautery, where it is curved when it is inside the tube, and when you press the handle together, when you press this handle, this comes out. This white knob here, if you press, you can disengage the electrode very easily as to insert, change or reinsert. There are additional instruments like trephines, which are used to cut harder tissue. In the old days, we used to use this to cut the hardened, collagenized, calcified annulus through the working channel, not through the working channel, but through the operating sleeve. There is one more trephine which can be used through the working channel of the scope, which is not shown here in the picture. Now these are new manual bone drills which are used with this circular top. These are based on philosophy by Dr. Thomas Hoagland of outside in, where he undercuts the facet. Now there are new rasps which are blunt at the tip. These are cannulated, so can be passed over a guide wire, and you can use them to remove the bone from under surface of the facet where you want to do a foraminoplasty as to access the central part of the canal. We also use drills. I personally use a handheld battery operated drill which works at 525 RPM. We do not need the 40,000 or a 60,000 or a 100,000 RPM drill. This is a laser machine which could be 40 to 100 watts. This can come with a straight or side fire laser. These are very expensive, and these were used very commonly in the past in absence of very good working RF cauteries. Nowadays we have very good RF cauteries. The difference in RF and laser is the RF works only on tissue which is hydrated. It does not work on tissue which is not hydrated. So RF does not work on bone. RF works only on soft tissue. Laser can work on anything. Laser works on metal, can work on bone, can work on hard tissue. But laser is very expensive, and therefore nowadays the use of laser has gone down. Now there are new instruments which are available in my set of equipment for the new surgery, that is extension of my system to the surgery of stenosis. We have a new needle which is shown here. This is a more balanced needle, and we can use it for targeting the tissues. Now this is 1.8 mm in diameter. Working length is 18 centimeters. This is 25 centimeters, and then this is 1.2. This is 18 gauge, and this is a little larger gauge. This is 14 gauge. So we need to choose as per the target which we have. This is a more balanced and more hard, more tough instrument. This is a black sleeve where there is a nose to the tip which is grasping. This is more blunt but with serrated ends. There is a grasping forceps. There is also a grasping forceps. This is another style spoon forceps. These are mainly used to grab the soft tissue which is attached to the bone or to the margins of the disc. This is a Raven-Beek forceps or annular cutter. This is the new punch. The main thing what we have to remember is you can see through this window of the punch the tissue which you are cutting, or when you are operating, when you are not able to see the tip, you have to turn the instrument to one side, and the camera, normally it goes like this. You turn the instrument to the left and the camera towards the right, so you see the tip of the instrument. Without seeing the tip, these instruments should never be used. Otherwise, they are risky instruments which may damage certain structures. Now, these are angled curettes. This I have developed and designed. These are 3.5 mm curettes which are straight. That is, they work like this in straight line. There could be a left side curette or a right side curette where the cup is on the side. There are specific uses for this curette during the surgery, and we will be describing during the surgical videos how these can be used. You can see this is a right side curette or a left side curette, and these curettes are essential to scrape out all the hypertrophic tissue which can grow over the superior articular process or under surface of the facet. So these are the instruments. These are very simple. These are very well made and strong instruments and can be used very easily. Thank you.